All right, Mr. Banjo, welcome to Founder Spotlight with TechNest.
Thank you for
Good
having
afternoon
me.
and welcome.
Good afternoon to you,
So,
sir.
just like I said, the interview is just going to focus on you. It's going to be conversational,
Okay.
and we're going to be talking about what you've been able to achieve for yourself and for MyCover, which is your brand, your product, and then its influence in Africa and in Nigeria. So we'll just get to it if you're ready.
Sure.
Definitely. All right. So yeah, a brief look at your profile. It shows that you graduated from Olabisi or Banjo University and you studied zoology.
Yeah.
So I just want to know how did you delve into InsurTech from that?
To be candid, it's been a long journey here, right? So I studied zoology in school, like you mentioned, but I've done pretty much everything, right? I've worked in almost all the sectors, bar oil and gas, right? So for instance, I started my career in banking, which was a switch from, the sciences to finance. And I was in corporate banking at the time. And from there, I did consulting and then business development and growth and strategy for an FMCG and an e-commerce platform before eventually getting into InsurTech. So it's been a long journey. But I think for me, right, like I always say, it's about understanding what your strengths are and then knowing that you can apply those to almost any sector or industry that you find yourself. Yeah, so it's a long road to. I didn't set out saying, "Oh, I'm going to build an amazing InsurTech platform." It was something that happened in the course of my journey, and I'm sure we'll touch on it as we go.
So yeah, the next question actually touches on that. What inspired MyCover?
So in 2016, I met KO, who had founded AutoGenius 2 years before, which was Nigeria's first digital insurance platform, and it was an auto insurance comparison platform. So I'd met him and we had spoken, and he wanted me to come on board and work on the brand. He was busy doing other things at the time. So I then came in. That was my proper introduction into the insurance world. And as I got involved and started working on this project that was really difficult at the time, because I dare say it was ahead of its time in terms of acceptance of insurance generally and then digital insurance. But I then went to learn more about insurance to get certified, just to understand the nuances behind the profession and then the industry as a whole. Having done that, we started thinking about insurance. So my co-founder Alex had joined us in 2018 to work on products and all of that. And then our other co-founder was working in a software company that was working with us at the time.
Yeah.
So all three of us had worked on AutoGenius, right? So it was like a founder school, for lack of a better word, right? And then as we kept working on it, the whole idea of expanding beyond auto insurance started coming. And then I remember there was a day I was talking to Alex and I said, imagine that we build an infrastructure that every insurance activity passes through our platform. And it was like, wow, that's crazy, but it would be great,
Yeah.
And that was the seed that then grew to become this. Of course, there are many iterations in between that initial conversation and the company that grew out of it eventually. But it was just us looking at, how insurance was an afterthought for a lot of people and still is an afterthought for a lot of people till now. And we're saying, how do we penetrate this market? How do we increase the share of the pie? And then we said, instead of being at the front end, can we be at the back end? And then, what we had found was a lot of fragmented solutions. Can we build something that powers insurance across Africa? So whether it's product development, whether it's distribution, whether it's claims management, you have that infrastructure, that rail that powers the growth and adoption of insurance. And that was the beginning of the journey up until now.
So I have to ask, what has been the growth so far? What has been the achievement so far? How far have you come as a company?
Very far, even though we still have a long way to go. Like I always say, insurance is not your typical fintech startup. However, I think since we started full operations in 2021, we've been able to serve numerous customers. Currently, we have almost 10,000 active users month on month. And the idea for us, beyond even like the metrics and the numbers and the revenues, is the lives that we've touched. So, for instance, our mission is to, provide financial security for Africans by improving access to insurance products.
Yeah.
And a lot of people, I always say, they see insurance as something that is forced upon them. But I say insurance is something that you should plan for the same way you plan for your savings and investment. So seeing the lives that we've touched in terms of mothers who've had their babies in the hospitals, people who've been in accidents and have been able to recover because they had a policy, and all of those amazing things that just happen, right? Whether to women or men to children. There was a case of a man who was shot and he had life insurance. I presented the check to his wife directly, right? And those were at the early stages, right? So those kind of things just make you see how important insurance is. It can be the difference between moving on very quickly or struggling in a particular place for very long. But to your question more specifically, so today we partner with 9 insurance companies. So if you're integrating with us, you can have access to these 9 insurance providers on our platform. We have over 26 products available on our platform today, and they cut across different things. And we've also co-created products with these partners. We also have over 30 distributors on the platform already connected, and some at different levels of integration. So yes, we've achieved quite a number of results.
You said something about the common person, the common man, having to benefit from these your products that you've introduced over time. And I just want to know, how did it get to? Is it that from the conventional insurance I would know about, people get to meet persons and they tell them about having themselves insured or having their businesses insured, and that's like an education being passed across to them. So what I want to know is, how do the common man get to benefit and assess what you are doing through tech? Because we know most of these things, they are tech now, and you need a mobile phone or you need something that's tech is connected to. So I want to know, how do the common man get to assess and benefit this many products that you're introducing?
So like I said, for us is improving access, right? So one of the things that we try to do is to change the way people interact with insurance. So what do I mean by that? There's a phrase called embedded insurance. So the idea is to integrate insurance into products and services that you are already familiar with. You understand? So for instance, you go to an e-commerce platform, you want to buy a laptop. That's the activity that took you there. You use e-commerce platforms from time to time. However, the difference this time is that there's insurance available on that platform. So as you are buying that laptop, you get a notification that says, do you want to insure this laptop? Now, because it's happened right at that time that you are making that purchase decision, and this could be a phone, it could be a camera, right? It could be pretty much anything you wanted to buy. And because it's happening at that time and you're about to make a purchase, there's a higher chance of you saying, okay, let me
just insure it.
So the first thing is, we're introducing insurance to you on platforms that you would before now not have found insurance, right? We have other instances of, say your bank app that you use, right? Or your fintech app that you use to make payments and all of that. And then you log into the app one day and you say, oh, get health insurance for yourself and your parents. Now, because that's an app that you use, there's already trust, there's familiarity over time. Now they're introducing the product to you. That initial insurance barrier that you would typically have experienced if someone walked up to you on the street and said, all sweaty and I said, I want to introduce life insurance to you. But because you are seeing it in that ecosystem that you're already familiar with, the barrier to entry is sort of low, so to speak. So there are different points of engagement. Now we have customers in logistics, in buy now, pay later, in alternative energy solutions, in ride hailing, in different industries, different sectors. Another example would be, so imagine you're an African in diaspora. and you typically would use a mobile app maybe to send money back home to your parents.
Yeah.
And then you log into the app this day and see buy health insurance for mama back home. Now, again, this is something that you would love to do, but you didn't have a chance to do it. Now, this fintech platform can offer you that solution leveraging our API, because it plugged into us now have health insurance, and you can buy a mama gets care, and that extra money you would have sent for my leg is paining me, my right hand is paining me, the health insurance covers it. And that is the power of technology, right? And even in the rural areas, as long as you have like a mobile phone, you don't have to have a smartphone. There's USSD plays as well that can power adoption and subscription for those people.
So yeah, just like you mentioned adoption, what has been the adoption rate so far?
I mean, for us it's been tremendous. So I'll give you an instance. One of our products, I think about 4,000 of our users are first-time buyers of insurance products.
Wow.
So up until they interacted with us, they had never bought insurance products, right? And we have partnerships that are bringing people on board in the hundreds and thousands that are introducing insurance. There's a company we partner with that they have like agents across the country that sell their solutions, and they partner with us to introduce health insurance to those agents. And those agents have an opportunity to not just get health insurance but also life insurance for themselves, and they are signing up, right? So the adoption is great.
So as an insurtech founder, definitely there are many challenges that you get to encounter daily. So I just want you to point out those few challenges that you've come across and you've been able to surmount as an insurtech founder in Africa.
Maybe we'll need another podcast. but seriously, right? I think the founder's life in itself is one full of challenges, right?
Definitely.
There are no two similar days, right? Every day you come on, there's something new to deal with, right? But I think sometimes it's just the weight, right? So you do so much, and sometimes it doesn't seem like the needle is moving, right? And we've had I think recently we're having a conversation in the office, and some of the management staff were like, man, the pressure is getting
too
worse.
much.
I guess. So I think sometimes where you put in a lot of effort and it doesn't seem that so much has happened immediately after, right? But like someone said, it's consistency, right? Over amazing stuff. It's just showing up every day, being consistent, being strategic. And I think that's one thing we've done over time, to stay true to the cause, to be consistent, do the right things and do them over and over again. And eventually you see that while things might not move immediately, they eventually move further down the road. I think the other thing would be around talent, right? With the old Japa syndrome,
talent acquisition,
and all of that. So, but interestingly, we've been able to manage it well, because we've built an organization where people love to work, right? We have an open door policy. People walk up to us, they can tell us their concerns and their challenges, and we've tried a lot to listen and create an environment that facilitates their growth, their development, and ultimately their own satisfaction, and that has helped us manage that churn. But even with that, we've lost some people, right? But again, we've created a pipeline where we're able to stay on track regardless of what happens
and address challenges.
Yes.
So if you were to go back to, you launched in 2021. If you were to go back to change something about what you've done so far, what would be that thing?
Launch fast. Easily. I think that at the early days we were taking things a bit slow, trying to test and validate the idea and see, if some things would work and how well they would work. I think with what I know now, I would have done this a lot faster. So we would have moved a lot faster. I think that's the one thing I would change.
Okay, yeah. So let's say you were not the founder of an insurtech company. What would you be doing right now?
Collecting C-level salary.
Collecting what?
C-level salary somewhere, actually. But what would I be doing? I don't know, maybe, I was in corporate. Maybe that's what I'll still be doing. It's a lot easier there.
You just do one or two things and your money comes in.
Yeah, so I think that's what I'll be doing. But still in growth, in strategy, in business development. But I mean, as tough as this is, I love it. You know, there are days you wake up tired and exhausted. There are days you don't even get to sleep at all. But I love the drive. I love the result that comes with it. I love the impact. Right. We are still waiting for the money, but everything else is great. Yeah.
Okay. Personally, now, what do you do for fun?
For fun, I love football. I'm an AC Milan fan. I've been for many years.
Wow.
Yes. We've gone through some not so great times, but that's how you know I'm a loyal man.
I'm shocked right now.
And that's how you know I'm not giving up on this startup thing. I stick to it. So yeah, I'm an AC Milan fan. I love to read. I sing. I love music. I don't sing that much anymore.
I used to sing. Okay.
Yeah, I used to sing. What else? Just play with my family. I'm married. I have a wife and 2 kids. So my kids and I have this very lovely banter from time to time. We are very inquisitive. I want to know everything. So yes, I enjoy that. Make fun of my wife. Yeah, she has me too. So I'm an indoor person really. I don't go out much except when it's for the walk.
I see. You have so many interests. I just want to get to know this one thing. How do you balance your time with your family? Now that you've mentioned that you have a family, how do you balance that with having to manage a company that has to look out for persons out there and try to do everything you do daily? So how do you balance that life or lifestyle?
It's tough. I was talking to, I think it was my co-founder, one of the managers, and I was saying, this startup life, my family is doing it with me. Right? There's a sacrifice on their part too. I mean, I try to, and then it takes a lot for you. So for instance, in the morning, I still try every day to drop my kids in school. So get them ready in the morning, part of their life. So have this conversation on the way to work. When I can, I try to pick them up from school. If not, my wife picks them up. And then, thankfully, with remote work, I'm home some days. But even at that, when you're there, but you're not there.
Yeah.
You're at your desk, your headphones on, and you're just working there. So it's tough. But I think I'm grateful to have a wife that understands what needs to be done and has been a very strong support. In times like this, my kids are amazing as well, but I try a lot to make time. Like I said, I'm deliberate about being there, being a critical part of their lives, not just a daddy that brings money. I'm there to play with them, to play football when I can, read them a story at night when I can. But always try to drop them as well.
That's great. I mean, what you've just described is, a great father and a great mentor to them. So I think that plays a huge part of their lives too.
Yeah.
But even superheroes, they need to be inspired. As fathers, most fathers are superheroes and they inspire their kids. But they themselves too, they need to be inspired. So I just want to know what's that major factor, or what are those factors that inspire you to keep doing what you do?
What inspires me to keep doing what I do? I think my family, my kids, I want to show them that anything is possible. Right? I want my daughter and my son to grow up knowing that, life never really gives you anything, but you can take it and be great at it. Right? And then the people I work with, right, they're also a source of inspiration, because when you go to the office and you see how people they are doubling down on this vision that isn't originally theirs, but they've taken it on fully and they're committed to it. It's inspiring. And of course, those who've gone ahead of us, right? The amazing tech stories, and not even just tech stories that have come out of Nigeria and that continue to come out of Africa, right? People, despite the odds, are doing amazing stuff. In agriculture, in tech, in business generally, and even in just daily lives, right? There's a lot to draw inspiration from, even now in the political season. You see how people are enthused about, voting and making sure their vote counts. As much as we have our challenges, there's a lot to be inspired by in Nigeria.
That's great. That's great to hear. And thank God you mentioned that there are some persons in the industry that also play parts in that inspiration. So I just want to know, what are those founders that inspire you probably in the insurtech space in Nigeria and in Africa?
Insurtech is still at its infant stage, so there's not so much to. But I mean, I admire and respect a lot of founders out there. I'd mentioned K.O. Kolayomeyin, who built Vineyard Business Hub, Vineyard Group, amazing man who somehow has managed to put so many years in a few years. I don't know if he's achieved so much in such a short time, right? Of course, the Flutterwave guys and the Paystar guys, the amazing women, Ifelua, Folake of emergency response. So there are people who are building amazing stuff that you're just. I like Dr. Neto too of Wella Health. Right? People who are just doubling down and building. Right? There's the fanfare of the tech space, but there's the work, and these are people who just get it done. So yeah, I'm motivated by people like that.
Okay. There's this one question that has just been ringing on my mind. We know that fintech is like the backbone of Africa tech industry, and fintech is doing all the news, the major news, the funding and everything. But I just want to know, do you think founders, they are becoming redundant with their ideas on fintech, or the fintech industry is becoming redundant with the ideas that are coming up?
I would say redundant, are there two similar products maybe? Yeah, so you'll find that for a lot of companies it's the same product, it's just different name, maybe different approach.
Exactly.
So I see what you mean, but I also think that, right, what people are trying to do is solve payments, solve financial inclusion. And then when you do that, it's easy to layer so many things upon it, right? I think, for instance, empowerment is a key element of getting Africa out of poverty, making it possible for people to earn better living, right? Better wage, better salary, be productive. But a lot of the fintech activities focus on building the rails that can power payments and then improving financial inclusion. Because once money can move freely, right, and once many more people can transact electronically, it's easy for you to then layer things on top of that. So I think that's sort of the idea behind it. For a lot of people, I would also assume that in that same line, there are people who just jump into it because they feel like it's the easier route.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so I see what you mean. But again, there are hard problems, right? There's insurance, for example, there's education that I think, more founders need to go into.
Look into those aspects.
Yes, improve people. Like I said, to earn more, people need to know more, and it doesn't have to be formal education, right? They just need to know more to be able to do more. And then earn better for themselves.
That's a beautiful answer. To the final question, how would you describe a successful 2023 for yourself and for MyCover?
Oh, very easy. Let's just meet our OKRs. We'll be fine. But I think that one would be, improve our brand presence. Of course, grow our MRR, ARR, all those numbers, very important. Acquire more customers, more partners. But I think that what would really make me excited is when, we power most of the insurance activities that happen
in Africa.
Yes, that for us is the point where we know, yes, we've arrived.
All right, that's beautiful. Well, it's been an insightful interview with you. Getting to talk about the solutions that insurtech is bringing and what MyCover is doing in particular. I feel, just like I asked, insurtech is one of the many aspects of tech in Africa that needs to be focused on, because most Africans, they don't even know about insurance, like you mentioned, it's an afterthought for them. So most of them, they just see someone coming from an insurance company, so it's God that protects me, and all that. And then the funding part is also one thing that has not been coming to the insurtech company. So I believe the insurtech industry is one industry that needs to be focused on and needs to be empowered, so that Africans can have a part of their lives settled in case of, if you look back at what happened recently in the I think one of the Igbo markets in Lagos that got, I believe that's one thing that insurance can also help to solve. So,
so interestingly and thankfully as well, in the last 1 year or 2 years, we've had more players coming to the insurtech space. Which means that people are now beginning to look at insurance and understand that there's an opportunity here, right? Africa has a population over 1.2 billion people, and they're mostly young people, right? So there's a market there, and people are beginning to see that, and we are glad about that. And I think that the future of insurtech and insurance as a whole in Africa is really bright. I think that we're at the early stage of insurtech, the way we were like 5-6 years ago with fintech, where you had Flutterwave, those early days. This is where we are now
for
with insurtech. So exciting times ahead.
Thank you very much.
Thank you
for coming to this series of Founder Spotlights.
Thank you.
We hope to tell your story and push your story out there to your audience, and when it's out, we'll reach out to you.